Identifying with one's own creativity can be very elusive. However, by the time I was 4, I was spending hours drawing pictures, building things with my hands. One would assume my future was clear, but not for me. I was born in Buffalo, New York in 1937, at the height of the Great Depression. And although both my parents were working, the devastation surrounding us left them with so strong an impression that as my interest in artistic expressions expanded, they steered me in a different direction, one that they believed would give me a better opportunity to make a living. This fully manifested itself when I was applying to college. Despite a scholarship to go to art school, they convinced me to apply to Ohio State University, which I did and graduated with a degree in business. Maybe they were right. My business career was quite successful, including co-founding the hotel chain Red Roof Inns and as the sole founder of the hotel chain AmeriSuites. And also during that period, I raised my wonderful family, sharing with them much of the great outdoors. My interest in the arts, however, never really diminished, and after selling the 2 businesses, I was able to redirect my life to what I believed was my true destiny. This started with my taking lessons from a Native American sculptor whose work I had long admired, Bill Prokopiev. Bill had a studio in Santa Fe, and I moved in with him in 1999. Unfortunately, Bill passed away 7 months after I joined him, but he had introduced me to another Native American sculptor, Doug Hyde, who took me under his wing. Both these men were students of Alan Hauser, a pioneer in contemporary Native American art. In 2011, I remarried. My new wife had family in Carbondale, Colorado. Coincidentally, another of my mentors, James Searles, had recently relocated there, and after briefly conferring with him, it wasn't long before my new wife and I were headed to the mountains. Carbondale has been recognized as the most creative small town in Colorado. Shortly after we settled in, I became the chairman of the Carbondale Public Arts Commission, overseeing the selection and the placement of original artworks throughout the town.
Henry Moore nailed it. The creative process is a never-ending challenge. The challenge to produce something original, anything, drawings, sculpture, music, that reflects one's inner self. The creative process for me is an exploration of self, searching for that aha moment, digging deep into my psyche to interpret my feelings, my emotions, and my observations. The mental challenge is daunting. Once I have a grasp of the idea, I begin with a gesture drawing. These studies are quick, 1 to 5 minute sketches, and my interpretation of what I see. The gesture, energy, the pleasure. I then create a 3-dimensional maquette in plaster or clay, which provides me with a visual guide for the sculpture to be carved from the stone block. I approach my work with intent and caution, an inner feeling that tells me to go ahead and at the same time be careful. Focus on your basic plan, your idea, in your mind and in your gut. You then find the path to express the idea in a manner that satisfies yourself. If the viewer relates to your creation, great. However, you create to satisfy oneself. I was taught by my Native American mentors to just look at the stone until you see the image within and then bring the form out. I'm passionate about sculpture. I love the tactile feel of the material and experiencing, seeing, and feeling the emerging forms. I love the tools, the construction, destruction that is involved, and most of all, I am proud of the final work that contains my energy, excitement, and joy.
Picasso was right, both figuratively and literally. Figuratively, one must process a great deal of mental anguish before a piece is completed. Literally, certainly for a sculptor, there is a lot of destruction to get to the creation, which is rather obvious with stone. Bronze casting is an entirely different process. From the original stone piece, I make a silicone rubber mold and several investment molds depending on the size of the addition. Molten bronze is poured into the investment mold, and upon cooling, the mold is destroyed and the casting is then removed. The pieces are then welded together. They're burnished, sandblasted, and then patinaed. Patination is a process of applying heat and acid alternatively till the desired appearance is attained. The sculpture is then polished and waxed. Bronzes are cast in limited editions, and once the edition is complete, the silicone rubber mold is destroyed. Brancusi's words certainly resonate with me. I believe most, if not all, artists are capable of recreating realistic works, but then, in my opinion, the viewer's interpretation is restricted. With my sculpture, the viewer knows what I generally had in my mind, but he or she is left free to explore the infinite possibilities lingering in theirs. For me, that is what art is all about, having the viewer participate in the creative process. My 30 years in business were creative and rewarding, however driven by economics. The creation of art is driven by the enjoyment of immersing myself in the creative process, the people I have befriended, and the satisfaction that comes from providing others with visual pleasure and meaning. Please visit with me on my website.